My wife wants to leave our baby at a fire station and our marriage is on rocks. Since our second daughter was born 3.5 months ago, she has not stopped crying. There's nothing wrong with her. The doctor suggests that it is a bad case of colic. Edit. We have seen several doctors, all say no allergies, no broken bones, just bad luck of colic. She sleeps for an hour at a time but then wakes up and starts screaming again. How can such a small baby make such horrible and loud sounds? At first I felt heartbroken that my child was in such discomfort, but now I am numb to it. Our 5-year-old daughter used to be a happy girl, but she is constantly miserable because she never gets any peace or sleep at home and both her parents are zombies. She doesn't fully understand that the baby isn't doing this on purpose and tells us that she hates her and that she is a selfish brat, and while I try to explain that the baby doesn't mean it, I can see why she is upset. She gets testy when it is time to leave school, and her teachers have spoken to us several times about how she has changed and is no longer the happy girl she used to be. She sees the school's counselor twice a week now. When she is in the house, she will either want to play outside at the bottom of the garden. She won't even call the baby by her name, she calls her the selfish brat. We have resorted to driving her half an hour to my brother's house so she can sleep there, and she gets dropped off to school in the morning with her cousins. She says she hates coming home and wants to live with her uncle and aunt until we fix the baby or give her away. Honestly, it is a terrible solution, but I take it because it means that every other night I get an hour of peace in the car and our daughter gets a good night's sleep. My wife is not suffering from depression, she just also hates. Edit. Hate is a strong word. I mean, she hates the situation, the baby, because she won't be quiet ever. First she felt guilty, now she just wants to give the baby up to care. We had the police called several times in the first few months because the neighbors thought we must be abusing the baby. They have since moved out at the end of their lease, and the property owner can't find a new tenant. That is how bad it is. The last time the police came, my wife outright said that if they suspected that we were abusing the child, then they should take her and put her in care. Our marriage is also falling apart because we are both sleep deprived, on edge, tired, and eager to spend time away from the house just to get some quiet. She works from home and I work close by, but I am spending late nights in the office just to avoid the noise. Edit. I take the baby all weekend, and am on night duty on Moan, Wed, Free, but on Tuesdays and Thursdays I often go back to the office for an hour after dropping my daughter to my brother for an hour of quiet. My brother or his wife will occasionally come and babysit her while the three of us just get out of the house, but my wife mostly wants to sleep. My daughter hates that she gets no attention from either of us, and that is understandable. No sitter in the local area will babysit for us, and I can't blame them. The sitter who used to look after our oldest quit within a month of the baby being born because she couldn't take it. At the start, my wife even pestered the hospital because she was sure that our baby had been switched at birth because our first was such an angel. About 2 or 3 times a week sits me down and tries to convince me that we should give the baby up for adoption, and tells me that she loves me, but if it comes to it thinks that it is better if we separate and she will take our daughter and leave me with the baby. I cannot lie, I do not love the baby. Nor does my wife. I wish I were deaf. Update 1. We got a prescription for ranitidine on a 4-week trial which we can pick up tomorrow. Apparently, because of NICE guidelines, they try not to prescribe this stuff too much to babies, but I cried in front of the doctor and this really is the last resort. To solve the family problems, my wife is going to take a 2-week vacation to see her sister with our oldest daughter on Friday. Over the weekend the baby and I are going to stay at a friend's empty cottage to see if it is something wrong with the house. We also contacted the fire department about carbon monoxide and they said that they can send someone to check the house out. My boss is really understanding, his baby went through a similar thing, and I am taking 2 months for paternity leave so that my wife and daughter can move back into the house and I can stay with the baby at the cottage. One big bit of progress was that we managed to somewhat calm her down and get her to sleep a lot easier by following the suggestions in the thread and taking her in the bath. I took her in the bathtub with me and held her in the warm water. Someone suggested a colic baby white noise track and I had the brainwave that maybe the sound of the water was what was calming her. The colic track made me wonder whether a heartbeat white noise would work, so in the bath I played a heartbeat and womb noises track quite loudly and she was calm for about half an hour and then fell asleep. I suspect that some of the commenters were right in their idea that the noise of her own crying was hurting her, so we ordered some ear defenders for her too. When she wakes up in the night we can usually soothe her within about 10 minutes back to sleep, but during the evening we ended up in the bathtub 3 times because it was making a difference. I'm blown away that it makes such a difference and I wish we had tried it sooner. I feel so guilty that we hadn't considered reflux earlier. We could have saved her so much discomfort. She has been crying literally her entire life. I feel like an awful parent, but hopefully, we can make a difference. Update 2. So it seems like it was a combination of reflux and discomfort at the sound of her own crying. Very loud white noise, being in the water and reflux medicine all helped her. Follow.